To you.
So much, Kate, for such a warm introduction. I really appreciate it. And hello to everyone who is listening to this important topic. Not because I'm an insurance broker that I think that it's important, but for any professional that gives advice, professional indemnity is one of the most important policies that you should have. But let me begin today by saying that it's great that you have taken the time to learn about this important subject. Like Kate has mentioned, some of you may know a lot about insurance, and I'm only here to add more value to your knowledge. And some of you may have never looked into professional indemnity in depth. So I want to add value today. Today's session is not about a particular insurance policy. It's about you as a property investment advisor professional. And hopefully you'll walk away after this hour feeling more empowered in understanding why you need this policy, why this policy costs a certain amount, and we'll run through that, what things to look for, and also be confident in what you deliver to your clients once you have this policy as part of your other insurance policies that you purchase every year. Before I go to the next slide, let me just begin by talking a little bit about myself. I'm not going to take too much of your time on that, but I just thought I'll share so that you know why I feel confident enough to help property investment advisors around the country for a number of years. As you can see on the screen, we've just celebrated our 20th years in business. I'm very proud that the business that I once started 20 years ago has taken this amazing journey. We do look after professionals not only in property space, but all around we're not sort of just focusing on property space. We help professionals from all walks of life and all around Australia. Our office is based in Sydney. We do have a group of amazing professional brokers here in Sydney with all our support staff based out of Philippines. We've got authorized reps that represent our brand as well. And, 20 years feels like a long time, but to me, it feels like we just started the business yesterday. Why did we get into helping property professionals? Well, about 12 or 13 years ago, we got approached by one of people's members to help them with a policy that would protect them in providing professional services as a property investment advisor. We looked at the requirements, looked at the work that property investment advisors are doing, and we reached out to a number of insurers. Most say to us, we can't help because a property investment advisor is not a traditional real estate agent, in many cases, not a financial advisor, and kind of sits in between. So we worked really hard with underwriters to create a policy that is specific for property investment advisors. And I'll go into depth about that throughout the presentation. What I want to mention is that very few insurers were excited to provide this type of policy. And so many years on, it is still the case. They still get a bit nervous because there's not a lot of claims, which is great, which means your professionals are doing a great job. But they're also nervous if there is a claim that it's going to cost them a lot of money. In the insurance world, they want to have a precedent set so that they can understand the risk better. And therefore, there's only one or two providers currently in Australia that do support professional indemnity for property investment advisors. With one of those insurers, we're the only brokerage in Australia that is able to provide this type of cover. So, I'm very passionate about that because I want to help property professionals to be properly insured. Just go to the next slide. 1 second, sorry. What is professional indemnity, you may ask? It's a very simple explanation. If you are providing advice to a client, you have a risk in providing the wrong advice. And also, a client may allege that you're providing the wrong advice. It costs a lot of money to defend yourself. And the only policy that would respond in this kind of situation is professional indemnity. I'll put a little bit of a summary there. I'm not going to read that. You can refer to that later. But if you're giving advice, whether it's written or verbal, you need to have professional indemnity. It's not a requirement by law in property investment advice space. In real estate space, it is a requirement, but we strongly suggest that you do have that policy in place. Sorry, I'm just in a little trouble navigating the slides. Okay, so today's session is for property investment advisors, like I've mentioned, property portfolio managers and planners, property strategy providers. We've noticed in the last sort of 12 months, there's creative ways that people call themselves. So just to let you know, if you're providing property investment advice, this session is for you. Why professional indemnity insurance? Well, think of this scenario. You provided advice to a client and they said that your advice was negligent or it costed them some money because you've given them the wrong advice. And like I said, chances are you've given them correct advice and they still have to prove the case that it was incorrect. But to protect yourself and defend yourself costs a lot of money. Therefore, professional indemnity policy can kick in and insurers can appoint a lawyer that will cover the legal costs to defend you. If you have done something wrong and you have given an incorrect advice, well, then there's coverage there under the policies that you would purchase. So basically, if a client demands a compensation, that's when professional indemnity policy responds. But more often than not, we're seeing that legal fees get paid out and the insurer would defend you. If you haven't done anything wrong, well, that's as far as the claim would go. I'll go into more details about that in a second. So the cover that you can get is worldwide, excluding USA and Canada. We do have policies, not so much in your space, but it is possible to get policies that would cover USA and Canada, but 99% of them would limit it just to worldwide, excluding USA and Canada, and you'll see that in your schedules of insurance. Retroactive date is a really important area in your insurance schedule to look at. And the reason for it is because you need to have cover for any work that you have done prior to getting this policy in place. Professional indemnity policy is not necessarily covering the work you're going to be doing, it's covering the work you've already done. So it's important that it says unlimited, or in a lot of policies, if you haven't had that type of cover before, it would state the date of the policy start date as the retroactive date cover. These are just like technical things that insurance brokers like myself look for, but I thought it was important for you to know when you open your insurance schedule to see that it's for professional indemnity, what jurisdiction it's got, and what retroactive date it's got as well. It's very important for you as a professional to be covered properly. There's no point getting an insurance policy that's not going to cover you, because it's not just a piece of paper. And a lot of people say to us, I just need a document so that I can apply for this accreditation or that I can show it to my client. The reality is you're purchasing insurance policy so that you can be properly protected, your business can be properly protected, and you're not risking your personal assets if somebody was to come after you personally or as a business. So you need to assess that your cover is correct. How do you do that? You can read endless paperwork that insurers provide, such as policy wordings and schedules of insurance, or you can utilize services or insurance brokers. And normally what we do is we educate our clients, we explain the policy, we go down to every little details to make sure that when you walk away, you are properly educated, you make an proper assessment that your insurance policy is specific for your business, because I know many of you run your businesses very differently to your competition, and therefore you want to make sure that it's specific for you. Well, my question to you before I go on, have you got professional indemnity insurance currently? Can you put it in the chat? Say yes or no, because I would love to know. Just yes or no, are you currently insured for professional indemnity? That's great. We're getting some answers. And if the answers are yes, do you think you're properly covered? Have you ever looked into your policy and went, okay, if I'm a property investment advisor, am I covered? Can I just get a yes or a no in the chat as well? Well, that's great. So how do you know if you're properly covered or not? Well, let me tell you that a traditional real estate insurance, professional indemnity insurance policy would always have an area that says excluding property investment advice. And if that's stated in your schedule of insurance, you're not properly covered if you are providing property investment advice. If that is stated in your policy, well, then it's great. You know that you're properly covered. And if you're not sure where to look, more than happy to jump on the call with you after this presentation or at any other time and point this out to you so that you can be sure as well. Think about that. In your work, you're not necessarily selling a property, you're selling a strategy, and that's classified as advice. So therefore, you hold a high liability to the clients that you deal with to give them the right advice. And that's what professional indemnity, again, I know I keep repeating myself, but that's what the professional indemnity is for. So have a think about that. Later after this session, go back to your schedules of insurance, look through the pages there. Usually it's after the invoice where you've got the description of the policy, and have a look. Does it state cover for property investment advice? And if it's not, then I urge you to get a proper policy that would cover the risk, the work that you're doing. I believe that the industry, the real estate industry and your industry has really changed in, 10, 15 years. And the reason is, in the past, clients would say, well, I want to buy a property. Now everyone wants to build wealth. Because they want to build wealth, they reach out to you, and you are the professionals that help them with that. Because you're the professionals helping them with that, the risk profile of your work has really changed. And that's why it's really important for you, when you are providing any written or verbal advice, that you stress out exactly the type of work that you're doing for the client. And if it's not just sourcing a property, well, then you need to spell it out. It needs to be in your disclaimers as well. What can trigger a claim? Have you ever heard clients say, this is not what I expected? You said this would perform. You said that the cash flow analysis is correct. And the market has now shifted. I relied on your advice. When you hear these trigger words, that can then turn into a claim. So if you are hearing something like that, don't panic. Speak to your brokers to make sure that you give the right responses to clients. Never say, yes, I'm wrong, because if you are admitting fault and you haven't spoken to your insurer or your insurance broker, you may be voiding the policy that you've got. So you've got to be really careful in responses to the clients if you are hearing this statement. And the best thing is just to go very factual. So just keep that in mind. If clients get a little bit upset, and we all get clients that sometimes, get a bit fired up, it's how we deal with the situation. And if they are saying these things, then just step back, look at the paperwork, look at your advice, your notes from your conversations with clients, and then see, is it likely to turn into a claim? If it is, that's okay as well. The best thing you can do is notify your broker, your insurer, to make sure that they are put on notice that possibly there is a claim coming, or there's a client that's upset. And then you would be surprised how much guidance you can get from the insurers in dealing with these matters very smoothly, hopefully not turning into a claim. What are the likely claim scenarios that we're seeing? If the client didn't follow your strategy and maybe change your strategy, and then they're trying to say that you're giving them the wrong advice. There's a lot of market fluctuation at the moment, as you would know. That can sometimes trigger the client to go, well, my investment portfolio didn't perform as well as I wanted to. So they can get a bit upset about that. There's expectation gaps that we need to watch out for. And these are the things that you can put in a lot of the disclaimers when you deal with clients. And there's also allegations. So the biggest types of claims that we are seeing in the professional indemnity space is allegations. Just somebody saying, you've done this and you probably haven't. And it takes a long time for you to prove your point. And going back to what I was saying, the biggest misconception, if you do have a policy that doesn't cover property investment advice and you have provided property investment advice, even if you have lots of disclaimers and you get clients to sign paperwork and so on, doesn't mean that clients cannot claim from you. And if you don't have proper policy in place, chances are that you'll have to pay it out of your pocket. So that's a big danger zone. The last claim I've seen, just for legal fees alone, was $300,000. So just think about that, put it in perspective. That's just to fight your position in any circumstance. And then the client was actually claiming over $2 million in compensation, but the lawyers, that client had a proper policy in place and was able to get away with just getting lawyers responding to the client, and the claim didn't actually proceed. But just put it in perspective, not trying to scare you, but fortunately, as insurance brokers, we do tend to scare clients in order to understand that the policies are required. So what is the reliance test? If a client acts based on your recommendation, always exposure exists. And if they haven't acted on your recommendation, done something separate, you don't have the exposure, but you can still have a lawsuit on your hands, or an insurer can step in and help you. So just always think, am I giving the recommendation to a client? Or are they making their own educated decisions on the choices that they make in purchasing properties? So what is the claim can really cost? So I just gave you like a very simple example, but legal defense costs are really expensive. Also, your time in preparing and dealing with the matters that can arise, that's quite costly. We never really calculate time when we think about claims, but sometimes you can take months preparing your defense, or an insurer can do that for you. And while that is happening, you can still focus on your business. You can still help lots of clients and continue making money. Obviously, stress and reputation are huge factors for all of us in the advice giving world. No one wants to be stressed. No one wants to be told that we're wrong. And reputation is key. Unfortunately, if you have done wrong by one client, the word gets out and it can be a reputational damage. Insurers do help you to navigate that, making sure that your reputation is not tarnished. And look, we're all human. We all make mistakes. And a lot of times having professional indemnity means that we can have that security blanket available. And if we have done something wrong, well, then there's coverage there as well. Well, these days, as you all know, clients don't even need a lawyer. They go to ChatGPT. They, very much specialist in every field. And they always say, I relied on your advice. It's a big danger zone for insurers as well at the moment, because clients are making allegations because they go to ChatGPT. It's not even to do with their case. And they start trying to recoup some of their losses that they could have had as a result of buying particular properties in the wrong areas, or for the wrong price, or for wrong reasons. And these days. Unfortunately, if they go to AFCA and it's a financial transaction where a financial planner was involved or an accountant, that can be a big problem overall. And a lot of times property investment advisors can be dragged into those problems as well. So you just got to be really careful and spell everything out what you're doing. So if you have a claim, before we go into policies, and I'll talk a little bit more about policies, let me talk about claims. When you open your schedule of insurance that I asked you to look at after this presentation, make sure that the business activity is spelled out 100% to what you're doing. And if you're doing traditional real estate transactions or you're doing buyer's agents transaction and you're also doing property investment advice transaction, make sure that it's all listed. Don't just rely on the fact that it would say real estate agent, because that's not descriptive enough. You want to make sure that it's spelled out 100%. Why do we want that? Because if you have a claim, the insurer will solely rely on your business activities that are insured. And if it's not something spelled out in your schedule of insurance, unfortunately, insurers can turn around and say you haven't disclosed everything. And non-disclosure usually equals to not having a claim paid. Also, insurers always look for your advice process. So my strong recommendation to you, even if you are speaking to the client on Zoom, or you're speaking to them at a site, or you're meeting with them at a coffee shop or their home, make file notes. Have a date of the file note, have detailed file notes, because you can then rely on that if any claims arise. And insurers want to see those file notes as well. And any written advice, any cash flow projections that you may be doing, any brochures or any information that you provide to clients, have it all in one file for each individual client. So if any claims arise, you can just deliver a full package to the insurer. I've seen insurers helping clients a lot more that can document and provide everything at once, because it just makes their life easier and they can provide a defense a lot easier for your claims. So business activities is what you want to check on the schedule, and in your processes and procedures, make sure that you've got the right paperwork to support any allegations that can come your way. Common mistakes that clients make. So I'll talk a bit more about policies now. A real scenario that we see a lot is real estate agents providing traditional sales or property management, later on pivot and look for getting property investment advice, professional indemnity, and quickly realize that the price is quite different. So just sort of rough figures. For a traditional real estate professional indemnity policy, you may pay $1,000 a year. For property investment advice type of policy, you're looking anywhere from $1,700 a year to $5,000. Depends on your turnover, depends on the number of staff, depends on quite a few factors, which state you're in, for example, as well. Unfortunately, we have seen professionals that come get a quote for professional indemnity that includes property investment advice, and they go, oh, well, that's really expensive. I'm just going to choose on price, and I'm going to buy just a standalone real estate professional indemnity policy. In my business, if we hear that conversation, unfortunately, we don't help. We ask these clients to go and seek their own cover, because if they've disclosed to us that they're providing property investment advice, well, they need proper insurance in place as well. So please never go and choose on price. It's not worth saving a few $1,000s a year and then have a claim that's not going to get paid. Interact occupation. I know I keep coming back to it, but unfortunately, these are the things you need to look out for. So I just thought if I keep stressing it out, it will be something that will sit with you, and you'll then look through your schedules, or if you are going to get new insurance policies, that you'll always glance at the schedule and go, okay, am I covered for the occupation that I'm in? And not disclosing full services. I had a conversation with an underwriter that we use, and they're very supportive. If you are providing multiple type of services to clients, more often than not, we can group it together and put it under one policy. Sometimes it costs more. A lot of times it's not, just based on disclosure and disclosure of your fees and the way that you operate. So if we can group your activities together, we will. And that means that you'll have proper cover rather than just leaving off one of the activities just to save a bit of money. Some of the risk management tips for you. When you are working with a client, always give them a clear scope of services so that they also not mistaken in the type of cover, in the type of services that you're providing. And that should always align to your insurance policy. Document assumptions are never good if they're not properly delivered to the client. So have the disclaimers, have everything that you are providing to the client for every type of advice that you're giving, back it up with properties that you're possibly suggesting to them and why. Always stipulate why, and never guarantee anything. The worst thing you can do as a professional is to guarantee results to clients. That is something that insurers also not loving when they're seeing paperwork for claims. We can never set in stone the results that people are going to achieve in property. And look, I'm quite happy to be challenged by you because I don't come from the property selling or advice space myself. But if you can avoid guarantees, more often than not, it can save you if there's any claims. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, IIA, my business, we specialize in professional indemnity design for property investment advisors. We work very hard with insurers every year. We have a meeting with the insurers. We go through the number of policies that we place with them, the type of participants or clients that they insure, the type of claims that they get to manage, and there's not that many at the moment, which is great, and pricing. Every year we have discussions on pricing because our desire as brokers who represent you in every transaction, not an insurer, is to see some decrease in pricing as well. So we work very closely with insurers. We've got really good relationships with them. We also work with claims teams from those insurers to make sure that they understand your profession. And if they have more questions, that we can put them in touch with people if required, or with some of the clients that we insure through them as well, so they can get more details. We have a deep industry understanding. That's why we sponsor people for so many years, so that we can intimately know what type of policies you require. And if something changes, if there's new rules, new legislations, or anything that was to ever come in, then we would reach out to insurers to align the policies accordingly as well. I urge you to act now. If you are here today or you're watching this presentation and you're not insured or not properly insured, I urge you to take action today, because tomorrow you might provide advice to a client and you might not be covered properly. Is it really worth losing your house, your reputation, your livelihood over an insurance policy that can protect you otherwise? So the last claim we've seen pretty much eroded the entire limit, and more often than not, we provide limits of either $1 million or $2 million. I'm a big advocate for $2 million in coverage for professional indemnity because it aligns with the minimal requirement for real estate agents as well. We can provide pricing for both. Sometimes, that helps certain clients, especially if they're startup in the industry. If you do need pricing higher than 2 million, we can facilitate that as well. And like I mentioned, pricing varies from 1,700 a year to about 5,000 a year. And it's all driven by the turnover that you disclose, number of staff, and the type of work that you're doing. If your business ever changes, we can make changes throughout the year as well. We don't need to wait for 12 months to have a full review. We can make changes on any policy at any time. and make sure that your strategy is protecting your business. Not only protecting your clients, but protecting your business as well. Well, because I was so fortunate to be able to present to you today and share some of the details, I didn't want to bore you with lots of technical things because everyone is slightly different in the way that they operate in their business. If you would like to jump on a Zoom call at any time, I'm more than happy. You'll have my details on the next slide. Just send me a message, or you can always find me on People website, or reach out to People and they'll put you in touch with us. We do insure a number of property investment advisors. Happy to have a conversation with you and tailor a policy based on your needs. But because we're so fortunate to be here today presenting to you, I'm offering a 10% off your next policy. All you have to do is just text it on this mobile number that's listed there. And what I'll do is I'll get one of my team members, or it might be myself, depending on the availability, reach out to you and take you through the process. A lot of clients ask me, is the process difficult? What do we need to do? Because insurance is not exactly an exciting topic and people don't want to spend a lot of time when it comes to insurance. We make it very simple for you. We have a very quick conversation to understand you and your business and your requirements. We then send you a proposal form that we can help you to complete. We can complete it with you during a Zoom call or a Teams call. Once we have that proposal form returned by you to us, we usually require 48 hours for us to come back to you with the quote that is specific to your business. So it's not just off-the-shelf type of product, it's specific to your business. We can then jump on a call, video call or a phone call to go through it, answer any of your questions, make any changes if you need any changes made. And then once you tell us, yeah, happy to go ahead, we place the policy, you'll have paperwork the same day. And once the payment is secured, we can then issue what's called a certificate of currency. And if you ever need a fresh one throughout the year, we can always issue that certificate of currency to you as well. I am conscious of the fact that these policies are not cheap. So we do have many options of payments. You can pay in full by credit card, or you can pay monthly through premium funding. And we try to keep the cost of premium funding low for our clients to make sure that we focus on getting you insured. That's the most important thing. So just again, my mobile number is there. Feel free to send a text message just saying PI, and I'll make sure that one of us here in Sydney gets in touch with you and helps you with your professional indemnity. Even if it's just a question and you're not looking for a new policy, still text the number or give us a call and we will be able to help you. So if you want me to check your PI exposure, I'm here for you and I will be happy to answer any of your questions now. We do have quite a bit of time, and it was done by design because I love having interacting sessions and being able to answer your questions. Just on this slide, you'll see our email address, our office phone number, our website, and our physical address if you'd like to visit us. If you're in Sydney or traveling through Sydney, pop in at any time. And yeah, what I'll do is I'll stop sharing so that everyone can feel more comfortable, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
You did so well, Paulina.
Thank you.
We've got a broad audience and yeah, you know your stuff. It was very insightful.
Don't find insurance is a very exciting topic, so but I'll try.
Well, you make it exciting.
So has anyone got any questions, or has anyone got a policy currently and has questions about it, like has any concerns?
Is that something that you're comfortable doing, reviewing? Obviously, we're getting to know you, and a lot of members know you already, and you know, knowing that we've got the right coverage is critical. But are you happy to review other policies if people have?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we do a no obligation review. Doesn't cost anything at all. In fact, if what you've got is the best, we will just tell you what you've got is the best, don't change. I think it's very important to know that it doesn't take a long time for us to do what I call a traffic light review. So we would tell you, this is great that you've got this. You may need to have that, but definitely need to adjust this here. And we'll do it completely obligation free. So feel free, if you've got a policy and you want me just to look through it, I'm more than happy to guide you. One thing that I didn't mention, but I think it's really important also, is if you do have a professional indemnity policy, don't break it until renewal unless it's incorrect, because it's not covering you for the activities that you're doing. Because if you cancel a policy, you will not have coverage for anything that you've done in the past. So only do it at renewal unless you need it to be corrected. That's a different story. Awesome. There's a couple of people, there's some private messages, so that's good. If you've got a couple of questions, please reach out. I'll just put my mobile number again here, and the office number.
Sorry, Paulina, Julie has left a question for you in the chat.
Thank you. Okay, let me quickly have a look, Julie. Hello, Julie. We've met before. Paulina, for your presentation, a trained buyer's agents would like advice on the type of insurance needed for this. Very easy. Buyer's agents obtaining specific policy for buyer's agents and real estate activities. They're much cheaper than the property investment advice policies. And we've got underwriters that are happy to look after buyer's agents only. Reason for going to specific underwriters, as you know, some buyer's agents advise on any property, others advise on off the plan. Some advise on investment, some advise on owner-occupier. So we've got insurers that are happy to look after everyone, because professional indemnity insurers are a little bit finicky. Some of them don't want to hear anything that's to do with off the plan. So that's why I always want to have a chat with the client first, understand them a bit better, then know which insurer to get quotes for them from. Because I don't like wasting people's time, and I want to make sure that it's specific and cost effective as well. Julie, does that answer your question? Or you're on mute, but you can come off mute if you want.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Paulina, for that presentation. That was really insightful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I understand that buyer's agents need professional indemnity. I carry that myself. I run a buyer's agency as well as train new agents. And so I guess the question is, do I need additional insurance or different insurance as part of my training role for them?
Absolutely. So to answer your question, I can give you a spot on answer. 2 weeks ago, we have insured a client who is buyer's agent, property investment advisor, and also does training for investors. And we were able to put it under one policy at no, it was a small additional, I think it was like extra $400 for a year. So then it stops you from having to buy separate policies for everything that you're doing. A, it's cost effective. B, you don't have to remember where are you insured for what. And also, if there is ever a claim and you have multiple insurers insuring you, it becomes a problem because they start pointing fingers at each other and it becomes a bit messy. So where possible, we try to combine it under one policy, one underwriter, one set of conditions.
That sounds perfect. And I've booked a time with you, so thank you. And,
thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
It'd be great for you to talk to my buyer's agent students.
I'd love that. I'd love that. And, you know, with anyone, whether you're a seasoned professional or you're new to property investment advice or buyer's agency or just traditional real estate agency, what a lot of clients don't know is insurers will guide you and give you conditions. Then you'll take your terms and conditions and you'll align it. So less likely you're going to have a problem if you're guided by the insurer. And obviously insurers do it via brokers. And then we provide another layer of education based on claim scenarios that we see. But always happy to help. And, you know, what excites me the most is that in the property space, everyone is slightly different. So I'm always learning as well.
Thank you, Paulina.
You're very welcome. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes, the presentation is recorded. Apologies that you couldn't get in, but it's fully recorded, and I'm sure people will be able to share that with anyone. Does anyone want to put any other questions in the chat, or you want to come off mute? Don't be shy. Has anyone had a professional indemnity claim? Maybe put yes or no. I know that's a scary subject. No. And one thing that you probably also want to know, not everything is a claim. Sometimes it's just simply a notification. And a lot of clients ask us, if I make a notification and it doesn't then translate into a claim, does it affect my premium next year? The answer is no. A claim can affect your premium, but it's all depending on what type of claim it was, how long it was going on, how much insurance had to pay out. But a notification is really important. It's just like a dialogue between you and the insurer. This has happened. I'm not sure if it's going to go anywhere, but I just want to tell you. So then if the insurer needs to prepare a defense, they've got a lot of time to do that. And they'll do it very quickly. Anyone else? Well, you're always welcome. Again, my mobile number is in the chat. If somebody doesn't want to text, some people like to email. My email details. 1 second, I'm just trying to get into. I'll just put my email address here as well. Feel free to email me directly. Even later on, you might think about the presentation today and then go, okay, now I've got a question. It's okay to reach out at a later stage as well. We're always here and ready to help anytime. And we'll be doing quite a few presentations throughout the year. There's one coming up in Brisbane where I'll be talking on cyber insurance. So you're welcome to join us if you're in Brisbane or traveling to Brisbane. I would love to share cyber insurance with you as well. And sometimes it interlinks with professional indemnity as well. So good to have both. Awesome.
Paulina, it's Fred here. Do you have a moment?
Of course, go for it, Fred.
Just very quickly, I will speak to you in more detail one-on-one, so I'll send you an email or a text. But you mentioned some of those do's and don'ts with best practice. Do you have a white paper document or something about that says what is a good best practice principle to apply when it comes to giving advice?
Absolutely. So what I can share with you, when we are placing professional indemnity policies for property investment advisors, the schedule is quite detailed that the insurer provides, and it can form a guide on what's excluded and what's not. So I'm more than happy to share that.
Okay, do you want me to text you, or do you want me to hop online and put a query through?
Just send me a text and then we can book in a time, or
Sure.
I can send it to you. Yeah.
But thank you kindly for a very informative presentation.
No worries. Always happy to help, and so nice to meet everyone.
Thank you, Paulina. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
We had a question about recording the presentation. It is recorded, so we'll be sharing it with the rest of our community.
Amazing. Amazing.
Well,
Does
on
anyone
that,
else? There's still quite a few people on the call, which is great. Has anyone got any other insurance questions? Doesn't have to be professional indemnity related. More than happy to answer.
This is a bit technical, but what do you deem advice to be? Like if you say to a client, here's 3 properties that are suitable for your requirements, please choose. Is that still deemed advice?
It's still deemed advice, because even with the wording you just used, these are suitable to you. So you're still relying on circumstances that you've reviewed for that client.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a general advice. If you were showing them properties, going this property here, this property there, but you're not saying to them, this may be suitable for you, or I recommend, or, you know, this is based on your risk profile or your profile as a client, then it may be a general, but it's a very gray area. When it comes to property, anything you're showing to a client can be deemed as advice, because a client can turn around and go, Fred, why did you show me this particular property or properties as opposed to the ones in a different area? And then you'll have to explain to them, you know, it's because you've given me this information and so on. So it's still deemed as advice, or anyone can allege that it's advice. In my opinion, it's still advice.
Okay. Sounds like a conversation for another day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, we also get asked about terms and conditions. You know, clients say to us, oh, but I've got lots of disclaimers. I give terms and conditions up front that I'm not liable for anything. The reality is, if a client says, I didn't read that, and you got me to spend all this money on buying this investment property, and now, you know, it's gone down in price or something like that, it doesn't matter what documentation you've given them. It can still be a problem for you if they decide to target you. So that's why professional indemnity policies exist. So then the lawyers would go in and try to fight the case for you. But it's a very gray area, and the only way is to have that security blanket of your insurance policy. And we always also can get insurers to look through your terms and conditions and disclaimers as well. They're more than happy to give their opinion on it. Again, something that clients don't often utilize when they're getting policies through brokers. Does that answer your question, Fred?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Sorry, I muted myself again.
That's good. That's good. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone. It's been great sharing a little bit of my knowledge with you. There's a lot more, but I like to make it very specific to clients. So I hope to hear from as many of you and help as many of you as well.
Thank you, Paulina. We'll see you next time. See you in Queensland.
That's right. Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.